Morning. It's Friday, July 25th, 2025. This is the second of two monthly public broadband committee meetings in the town of Dryden. My name is Dave. I'm the executive director of Dryden Fiber. This is kind of it's not the deep dive what happened last month meeting. That's what we did 2 weeks ago. This is just some other things that have come up in the last couple of weeks I wanted to share. And then I put some time on the agenda for Q&A and start with that. The town of Dryden's Public Broadband Committee has one open seat right now. Um, so if you know someone who you think would like to join, or you want to invite someone, we have an open seat. Arthur, who is a member of this committee, is not here this month for this meeting. He's on a plane, so he'll get the recording in the minutes. All right, with that, we start with our mission. Our mission is to provide reliable, affordable, high-speed, fiber-based internet access. We offer state-of-the-art technology and unmatched customer service. Uh, this is a mission I'll be sharing on Monday with at least 19 other participants of the MIP program. The New York State Municipal Infrastructure Program uh, has workshops for the recipients on reimbursements, on getting your funding, on expanding your project. And in these workshops, and it is part of our grant with them, they require us to have a marketing plan. So about a month and a half ago, I submitted our marketing plan for the next 18 months. And they were like, wow, this is really good. You've done a lot of work already. Can we share this with other MIP recipients? And I said, sure, go for it. So we're not competing with them. They're in different regions of the state. And then I asked them if they would like me to do a workshop to go over what we did and how we do it and how we think about marketing at Dryden Fiber, right down to our mission. And very quickly, like within an hour, they went back and came back and were like, yes, we'd love you to teach us what you're doing in Dryden for marketing Dryden Fiber. And as part of that, including our mission statement, because I think it's important for these municipalities, these counties, these public projects to think about the mission as they make all these big decisions to bring fiber across their towns and their jurisdictions. And we have a pretty solid mission. So thanks everyone who worked on this years before I even showed up to provide reliable, affordable, high-speed fiber-based internet access. With that, I'm going to go through the rest of the agenda items. We'll stop if you have questions as we go through each of these. I do want to, I'll veer a little bit in the construction and pole permits. We'll talk about where we are with those in 2E in a minute. So first off, with construction, for the POPs, we have 3 POPs on the project right now. They are in Freeville near the rail trail. There's one in Pinckney Road, and there's a third one in Yellow Barn, right off Yellow Barn Road. The generators have been installed. If you drive by Pinckney, it's probably the easiest one to see. There's a platform slab that we put down for the cabinet. We put a second one down a while ago, like as part of the plan to have a generator or batteries, and now it actually has a generator there. The Freeville and Pinckney are natural gas. I believe they're hooked up. The Yellow Barn is going to be using propane. That'll be coming next week. Following the completion of the hookup for Yellow Barn, the highway department will be putting fencing around it. If you drive by Pinckney Road, you'll see the posts are already there for fencing around these 3 POPs. And then we should be good to go. We'll probably do some testing in the month of August to see how things go with switching over to generator power. This was an important step that we identified. It was a gap about a year ago, and that caused a little bit of a challenge for us back in November. We had some lack of NYSEG power at Yellow Barn for about 22 hours. So this solves that problem of power. And for the Pinckney and Freeville, where they're on natural gas, they shouldn't run out. They should maintain electricity, even if we lose our NYSEG electric. Any questions on POPs and generators?
Yeah, is somebody doing like a monitoring program of them, so that I know they usually have a self start after a month. They start up, or a weekly startup and stuff. Do they log them themselves, or do we need personnel to go check that? Or I don't know what we need to do there. So
Good question. We can find that out. I don't know, Brad, if you have an idea on that.
If
Yeah,
they're
there's
if
monitoring systems you can put in place. Um, we can talk about that a little bit more offline, Dave. Obviously, the immediate objective is to get them in place so that if we do lose power, um, they come back online.
are you using Generac generators?
Yes.
So they have a built-in log that you can
yeah,
look at any time. It's a full run log, shows exercises, everything. Uh, the newer models also have Wi-Fi monitoring available to them. I don't know that we would have Wi-Fi at these locations, so maybe that's not an option. But I mean, I'm assuming that somebody is, as part of sort of ongoing maintenance, somebody goes and stops at these pops every so often and just checks things, right? So, but yes, I mean, if it's anything like my generator, there's a full there's a full run log,
mhm.
exercise log that's stored right on the generator.
So so we should have some form of schedule of and clarity about whose responsibility is to go check on these every month or whatever we determine as a reasonable thing, and then they would have to check this log as well, just to make sure that it's booting up and charging it, doing
I'm
what it
assuming
should do. So,
there's also going to be a maintenance schedule on them because generators need their oil
mhm.
change things every so often, right? So uh I would think that would all be scheduled, right?
Yeah, we put together a schedule for the CO and the three pops. Gosh,
Yeah.
in January, February. These are the monthly, these are the quarterly, these are the every 6 months, every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
We've assigned some of that work out. This is kind of the last step to get that all wrapped up into a single document that says, here's who's doing what and how frequently and how we're going to monitor those and get those reports
Yeah.
back. But those are good points to remind ourselves about
Yeah.
the generators. Anything else on power generation for these three?
No, I think that's awesome. That's getting in place.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Good to do it in July and not in December.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did the grounding issue get figured out as long as people were messing with the electric and generators?
There was a separate project. The audits of the three pops and the CO was separate from the electric work for the generators on the other pad.
And I had a question on that because I visited these and I saw some grounding. It's really more bonding that was missing, not it was not true
Mhm.
ground. Is that right? I
It
mean,
Correct.
it's kind
there
of
were grounds in place. The way I saw it, there were grounds in place, but not all the equipment was bonded.
Mhm.
that is the most frequent at the cabinets, Tony.
Yeah,
At the main CO, the whole CO is not grounded.
really?
There's nothing running from the ground bar to the exterior of the building.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah, Tony, we kind of have to laugh at the level of
Yeah,
work that we have been provided.
I'm
Is that a
sorry.
good way to say it?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's. I mean, there's a ground rod right outside. I thought I saw a ground rod there. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but and there was grounding wires, but you're right. I didn't follow them, right? So I don't know. Yeah, but
Mhm.
Yeah, so the first step of this was the diagnosis, and the second
right.
step is the prescription. So Vantage has done the first step,
Yeah,
which I share with you, so you've seen the diagnosis.
yeah, yeah.
Next will be the prescription and then determining who does that. So Vantage is tasked with writing up a two punch lists, one all about the grounding issues at the POPs and the CO. The second is about the when and if we do a DC power, which would be needed for Calix, um, which we are not quite at that decision point yet. So
Right.
we know we have a better idea of what's going on now from the audit from Joel Miller from Vantage.
Cool.
6 or 7 weeks ago. And from the report I shared with you 2 weeks ago, the next step will be taking that findings and then turning into 2 different task lists to bid out. Let's go to Hanford Drive.
Yes.
So we requested bids from 3 vendors for the splicing job. We received 2 back. 2 vendors provided bids. One was $813.50. The other was $3,490.
So I have to ask, why such a difference?
Mhm.
I would ask Brad to answer that, but I don't know if he has an answer.
I don't have an answer. The format we requested bids and one of the vendors complied with. The other vendor kind of just, I don't know what the best way to describe it is. Dave kind of slapped some numbers together. So it's very hard for me to judge like,
Yeah.
well, hey, they were much higher on their cost for installing the splitter, or they're much higher for their cost on installing the MPT. With the level of detail I received from the vendor in second place, it's very tough to speak to that.
Okay. And again, I know we don't need to go into real nitty gritty details, but it's, you know, I mean, you're talking about a 400% difference there,
Mhm.
almost, right? That's almost 4 times.
This
Yeah.
is why we have
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
transitioning to bidding things,
Yep,
not
I got
assigning them.
Yep, I got it. That's good.
Yes. So we've selected the $813.50 bid. And based on this conversation, I've notified Dan and Jason. It's not over a dollar amount. We could just move forward with them, but I wanted to let Dan and Jason see this, give them a chance to give comparisons. We got the bids back yesterday, or we got the bids back a couple days ago. We got the analysis yesterday. So we will notify the one that we selected, and hopefully they'll do the work next week, if not the week after, and then we'll monitor the project. Is there a chance that for 4 times more money, more than 4 times more money, the quality is 4 times different?
Right.
We're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, it just, you know, if they were, I could see it if they were, you know, closer, but I mean, 4 times, that's a really significant difference. Anyway, it's fine. I know we don't want to go too much into contracts here, but yeah.
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 So we'll get the work done and then we'll get install scheduled for everybody but Tony.
Thanks.
That's cold.
Coming soon. I think by the end of August of 2025. This is actually really useful because the next item on here is the major construction bid. What we've been doing as the next step, because this is just a slicing bid, is to combine construction and splicing into a single bid.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, the company that we award this to doesn't have to do all the work themselves. They can sub out the splicing if they choose to, or they can do it themselves. I mean, a company could even submit 2 bids, one where they do all the splicing themselves and another bid where they sub out the splicing. It's really up to the bidders when they come on to look at this and say, we want this work. I think there may be a rule on purchasing that the winning bidder has to do at least 50% of the work themselves. Like I can't just have like Tony Salerno bids on
Mhm.
it and outsources everything to someone else.
Right.
But I'll verify that with Brad and with Amanda to make sure.
But so what's going to happen moving forward, as I understand it, then is the, like, we'll have a section of the project, a road or a group of roads or whatever it is, right? And you'll bid it as one package, and they do all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
From end to end, like all the construction, all the splicing. Here's the total cost.
Yep.
Here's the timeline. Here's the deadline.
Yep.
I'll talk about that more at the August meeting about, I actually put it in the deck already as I'm trying to build out that storyline.
Mhm.
It has been very piecemeal. Like, here's 10 polls, here's 20
Mhm.
polls, or even like here's 50 polls. But when you're talking about a project with 3,000 polls, you can't do 100 at a time and do it as 30 separate packages. It's just
Mhm.
too much starting and stopping, waiting for the response from the engineering company once the construction is done, for the engineering company to then turn around and give the splicing instructions out to the splicing company. Instead, this is going to be a complete package that says, here's everything.
And I'm assuming Vantage in this case, Vantage is giving them all the engineering specs and everything for everything, for the construction, for the splicing, all that stuff, right? So all that's given to them up front,
Yes.
rather than the way it's been being done, like you just described, where they give the construction piece to one company and then they give the other piece to another company.
And not only that, but also in very small pieces.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So
No, I think it's a better approach. I agree with you.
we're meeting with our attorneys on Monday morning to make sure we review the entire legal document. It's a pretty in-depth document, which we have not done before by bidding this out. That way,
Mhm.
one has clear visibility and knows what we're expecting and what we're buying and what they're producing. The bid detail will be ready by the end of the month. I think bids are due on the 7th. Is that right, Brad?
Yeah, it just kind of depends on, we were projecting to get that bid out this week perhaps, but obviously we got to meet with legal, make sure they're comfortable with it. So ideally, Dave, we would give them 2 weeks to respond. So if we're talking about getting it out on the 1st, it's probably more like the 14th.
And then, I mean, shortly thereafter, we would award and get the work started. Now, this is the north of Route 13 yellow zones, which is substantial.
Yeah, that's a lot there. Yeah.
It's not, yeah. Some of the stuff has already been constructed as far as strand and or fiber.
Right. On several of those roads, there's fiber hanging on the poles, right?
That's right. It needs to be, we need to put the MSTs in.
Yeah.
Or do the splicing. It's not every single yellow parcel on here, but it's kind of West Dryden, Route 38, Route 366, I believe Malloryville and Morris, I think Peruville Road, and these on Gulf and Sweetwater,
Wheatland.
Sweetland. So there's a few over here. When we have it ready, we could share that with the Public Broadband Committee. Like, here's everything in this package. So you'll know
Yeah,
what's
that'd
going on. This is, like I said, much different than the prior method.
right.
We have a higher confidence, Dave. I believe that the engineering's being done so that we can make sure we can deliver to each house, that kind of thing. Because that was a little in question, I think, with the other things going on. So,
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, correct.
yeah.
All right. On the
Engineered
Caroline.
correctly to everybody but Tony's house.
No.
Gonna keep rubbing that one in, Tony.
He's got those big windows and those brick wall. He's not even in Dryden. All right, moving into Caroline. Caroline Construction will only have one location to pop at the Caroline Town Hall. We were going to do a second one in Speedsville, but given the size of the network and the size of the town of Caroline, we believe we can do it with just a single location. The plans for construction are getting finalized. This will go to bid, and our plan is for groundbreaking in October. And that will be to put their building, their central office building that we have in Caroline. And then all other construction will follow in the same format as in 2C of this construction bid. Any questions on Caroline? Usually Mark's here, Mark Whitmer from Town of Caroline, but he's in another meeting today. The last one is pole permits for the MIP project. They're moving through Labella. Obviously, we have to deal with NYSEG and Frontier and our electrical make-ready vendors, which is Richardson and Son or HRS. You might see them around, or Danella. We should see some major movement which is 12 permits getting processed and released. They have typically 50 to 150 polls. 150 polls is the max per permit. We should see those by the end of August. So those things are being processed. It's as we have known even before Vantage is here, it's a long, slow process to make this happen. Brad, anything else on poll permits or Caroline I should cover?
No,
Yeah, once
go ahead, Graham, sorry.
Yeah, once we've accessed all the poll permits there, then we can start putting it out to bid. Is that, or what's the timeline after that? Because I believe most of the West Dryden and stuff that's being, the poll permits are all done there, you know, so they can go do work, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a dance, Graham. We plan on bidding out a lot of the work in anticipation of when the make ready is going to be done. So it's a lot of planning and, you know, methodical working with the contractors on, hey, this road's available this week for work. This one's going to be available next week after the make ready is complete by HRS or Danella or whomever. So it's a dance for sure. Dave, I think your number is wrong in a good way. I think that is 18 permits
18.
we're expecting. And so, you know, we've been talking with Danella here, or excuse me, Labella, Danella, they sound so similar. Labella, about the tidal wave that's coming, because 18 permits coming off of non-billable review going basically out for the make ready construction is going to be a lot of trucks moving around very fast. A lot of work. Which is what we were anticipating, right? A tidal wave of work so we can construct quickly.
So this morning we received an email from Labella with a license. You got that one right, Brad?
Yep.
All right, so we'll try to talk through a little bit of this so you can see what these look like. It's a PDF file. This is a PDF file, it's 3 pages. It's quite small. If you squint, you still won't be able to see it. So within this one has, I believe, 16 polls. And just to like, again, we're talking about this project, MIP has over 3,000 polls between the two towns. This is a permit or license that was originally agreed on in November of 2022. So somewhere our prior engineering partner kind of lost track of this and it didn't get finished. It's Dryden Road and a little bit of Dryden and Pinckney Road. Each of these has a longitude and latitude, so you know where they are. And then it has very specific make-ready tasks for each individual pole. So I can't read all this. Like, I mean, I can read it. I can't decipher every single line of this, but installing, lowering cable TV lower 6 inches to 19 feet, 9 inches. These poles have a lot of activity on them before we even bring fiber in. So they all have to, when we say make ready, it's not like we're plugging it, it's called electrical make ready. It's not like we're plugging in electricity. They already have electricity. These things are hot. They already have cable TV and telephone and maybe fiber backbone, maybe other local fiber companies. A lot of stuff on these poles. So these are the instructions. This is like, why does it take so long? All these things have to be done in the right order by the right vendors to move everything per pole times 3,000 poles. Sometimes they need new poles, which is a whole other project. Now, where are these poles there's a surprisingly small amount of area where these 16 poles are. This is the street view. This is the easternmost pole just past Bigsby. And the westernmost pole on Dryden Road is right at Pinckney Road. And then it goes, there's a few that are down here on Pinckney. It is not a huge area for these 16 poles within this one license.
And these were part of our original pilot zone.
And it still had not been done as of this morning. So when you look at one of these poles, you can see there's a lot of stuff on these poles. Sorry to zoom in so quick. They require things to move, so there's not enough spacing. Then you drive down the street and you got to do another pole and another. And it's surprising, it's perhaps surprising if you're not paying attention, how many poles there could be just between Brewers, that Dollar General, that storage unit, the gas station, and Bigsby. Every one of these poles has to be, surveyed, designed, and then planned, and then licensed, and then the work has to happen on every individual pole. We're going to see a lot of bucket trucks and traffic people I believe in the Junetown email that we sent out. I invited our 700 plus Town of Dryden readers of the town newsletter in the Dryden fiber section to be careful around these construction areas on the streets. This is Route 13. It's a busy road, and these poles are pretty far off. There are many places where the poles are much closer and we'll have a lane closed. So like remind your neighbors and your friends and the community, like, please drive slow. You do not want to be in a bucket truck if someone hits your truck. There's flagging teams. Sean from Syracuse Village is here. He knows all about this. He and his crew are out there every day. Please ask people to slow down. This is only ideally going to happen a couple times. Once for electrical make ready, once for the construction, once for this. It's like once we're done this, they should be pretty good for many 10, 20, 30 years. Like we shouldn't have to be going up there and blocking traffic across all of town repeatedly. It's like this is a big investment in slowing everyone down for a couple days in different neighborhoods as we do all this work. But it's a lot. It's a lot of work. There's going to be traffic, and there's going to be safety issues. So please let people know that we're working on this, and they should slow down. And it's a lot. These licenses are very detailed as far as what we're doing. Any questions on this that I can make up, or that Brad or Sean can give you facts about?
No, I think it's helpful seeing what you just showed us, that spreadsheet, because understanding. I mean, look at that one pole you've got there right now with the transformers on it. How do you hang anything on that pole? That pole's really full.
Yeah, it looks at
And there's there's all these like for the electrical, there's all these required clearances, right? You can't be closer than certain distance.
That's right.
And they changed that code several years ago, right? So that's why NYSEG's been putting taller poles in all over the place, is because they changed that clearance requirement.
The electrical part of it never moves. It's
The electrical,
it's
right.
They're-
This
they're the
construction
top
never
dog.
touches any of the electrical stuff. Yep, I
Right.
get that.
They are the top dog. They get to
Yep.
determine what's going to happen.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. We're talking about that stuff that's lower on the pole.
Yeah.
And there's a
That
lot of
is
stuff
correct.
there.
Yeah, and they have to maintain a certain height for the lowest piece.
Right.
And then there has to be separate distances between each one of those other pieces.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So one truck will go in and move these if needed. One will go in and add strand and fiber. One might come in and do splicing to bring in
Right.
our MSTs. It's obviously, as I just said, it's a lot. Each of them has very specific instructions. These have to be bid out some of these we pay for, some of these NYSEG pays for.
I'm assuming the stuff that says non-billable is the nice stuff NYSEG pays for? Or is it the other way around?
It's a good question. Amanda's on, but Brad can answer it
No,
too.
non-billable is stuff that they pay for, and that's typically
Right.
pre-existing conditions.
Right, right,
You know, if the pole was already out of spec before Dryden Fiber even touched it, that would be like non-billable pre-existing condition.
right,
Yeah. Some of the poles don't need to be replaced. Some of them do. Some of them need to be replaced for us. Some of them just need to be replaced because NYSEG eventually had to replace them.
right,
From what I was told before is we don't pay for the ones they were going to have to replace. But if they're only replacing it because we need the clearance, then we would pay for it.
right. That
There
makes
are
sense.
some cases where if there's so many that need to be replaced, that we would go underground instead.
Right,
But that's not our go-to solution for most of these. Because underground is more expensive.
correct.
If you want this type of information, I can share this document with you. I don't know what if you want to like use it to fall asleep. There's a lot of detail. You can Google these things. I mean, it was plug in the longitude and latitude and see where each of these
Yeah.
poles are. You know, they have names. We could do an adopt a pole thing. We don't own these poles, but we're just renting space on them. There's a lot. 3,000. That's yeah. Just to this and this just in MIP.
Right. The 3,000 doesn't include all the other areas that are not part of MIP. And MIP is if we look at the total project, MIP covers less than half of it, right?
Of Dryden.
Yeah, of Dryden. I know it covers a bigger chunk of Caroline, right? But yeah.
Yeah. And there are some of those, and we know about this bid that's going out or early next month. Some of those are MIP, some of them are non-MIP.
Right.
But in a road that's a mile long that has an MIP address halfway down the road, we're going to charge that half mile to get to that house to MIP.
MIP, right.
We're going to keep the crew there to do the other half of the road.
Right.
And not charge that as part of the MIP budget.
Got it.
It's made it a little bit more difficult on the Dryden side. Carolina, everything is green zone. Like everything is blue ocean, blue sky. Everything is completely fresh. Everything that we do in Carolina is all MIP, 100%.
Right.
There's no dividing of invoices between MIP and non-MIP like there is in Dryden.
Right.
Okay, that's pole permits. Next up, grant disbursement agreement. We heard from New York State yesterday on 7/24 that the GDA will not be available this month. It'll be available after the Empire State Development Board meets in September, and then they'll provide us with the GDA that has been approved. Now, it's not the final, but basically it's an increase to the budget that they're going to approve. Then there'll be some massaging to make sure every individual detail is in that GDA. And we should be able to sign that in October. We will be preparing our first reimbursement submission for all work and milestones completed through 8/31/25, so end of next month. That'll all be submitted immediately after the GDA is signed in October. And we put a deadline on that of October 31st. So from now through August, we're working on the milestones, make sure that we've achieved everything that New York State wants us and needs us to achieve as part of the GDA. Then from September 1st through October 31st, Matt, who's here from our accounting team, as well as Amanda, the project finance director, will work to gather all the invoices so that we submit and say, here's the first reimbursement request. And that will be submitted, as I said, the day of or the day after the GDA is signed. as we said previously or early this year, we're expecting the first reimbursement to take somewhere between 90 and 180 days to get paid. So if it does get in by October 31st, I would expect to see it sometime mid to late Q1 2026. So February, March. Any questions on GDA or the MIP project on that side? The one thing that we did not change in the GDA, because we can't, is the deadline. It still is next December 31st, 2026. We have a lot of work to do between now and then. And aside from actually engineering everything before we start construction, doing these larger bid packages, as previously talked about, should put us on a path to be able to get these things done more efficiently going forward. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in August after I review some of these things. It's not like we're like learning how to walk a little faster. It's like we've been walking, now we're going to learn how to like drive. Like the miles you can cover in a day on foot, 3 miles an hour, you know, you can do that in 3 minutes in a car. So it's a shift in how we're doing things, which we believe is going to help us to reach that deadline of next year. Okay, installations. MDUs face 3 unique challenges. I want to just cover these while we're together, which we've been dealing with since we first spotted some MDUs in the green zone. The first is having enough fiber to service all of the units in the building. I put building, but sometimes it's a mobile home park, but more often it's a building. So apartment buildings, commercial office space or commercial retail with apartments above, apartment houses, all these are MDUs. There are many places that are in the green zone where there's just not enough fiber to service every individual unit within the building. That's why there are some spots within huge green zones that are yellow, especially here in Dryden Village in the Four Corners. All those buildings are MDUs, and none of them are set up to have fiber to every individual unit. If you want to know what I'm thinking, just watch Tracy. He will emote what I'm thinking as I'm talking. So not enough fiber to service all units of the building, which means Vantage has to come in and figure out how we're going to have enough fiber to reach every single unit. Second is getting access to the right place in the building. Just because we're on this telephone pole out front or in a handhole in front of the building doesn't mean we can get to every individual unit. We have to find some way to bring the line in. Most often, what we're seeing is a utility room. If it's multiple buildings, each building has their own utility room. We have to bring the fiber, enough count to each utility room. And then how do we get from there to the individual units? Do we use existing coax? Is there Cat 5 or Cat 6? Do we bring in fiber, drop cables, or strand? Like, how do we get it from that utility room to the individual units? All 3 of these are challenges that we're facing with every single MDU. There's no MDUs where we just like show up at the street and plug in and we can get 10 apartments online. That doesn't exist anywhere today. Does that background of the challenge we're having with MDUs make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like there was no plan. Just like I don't get it.
So these are the 5 projects that are with Vantage right now. Willowbrook, which is right here in Dryden Village, 12, 14, 16 Lake Street is 2 buildings, but 3 utility rooms here in the village. 1062 Dryden Road is 21 units across 4 buildings. Freeville Cottages, which is 12 individual units. And then Mott Road Mobile Home Park, which I think is 24. We just met with them this morning. And this list under Mott Road is what is going on for each of these, which is we need a map or a diagram of the buildings of the parcel from the property owner. That just speeds up things versus just trying to go in and survey and figure out where things are. They know where things are. Then an on-site engineering review from Vantage to go and see, like, now that we know what the property owner thinks, great, how are we going to bring this in? Then it goes back to Vantage HQ to design. Here's how we're going to bring enough fiber in from the street, including, like, is there enough strand at the street level to splice off enough for this MDU? Or do we have to go even further back? We know for Willowbrook, there's not enough on North Road. We believe we're going to have it come off of a connection in the village on East Main and James Street. We think there's enough there, enough count. So then we'll go west on East Main Street and then north on North Road and then east into Willowbrook. It just wasn't designed. So we have to go all the way back to the main line. Like, where is there enough fiber to service this MDU? That's the third step. And then how do we then going over this with the property owner? Step 4, make sure that they understand what we're going to be doing, aerial or underground. If there's going to be conduit, how are we going to get this into the building? Once that plan has been understood by the property owner and they agreed to it, then we assign the work for construction. Then we can open the area for residents to sign up, and then we start doing installs. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of units of rentals and MDUs across town in the green zone. We get some of these turned down, we get access to these. It's not like, oh, this is like one MDU, like a single family house or a duplex. This is like a 50 unit, a 20 unit, another 20 unit, like another 20 unit. This is some big opportunities for the project when we figure these out.
Now, are we suspecting that the Calyx solution is going to assist in this?
Right now, this is actually technology independent for all these items.
And
This,
it's really, Graham,
go
it's
ahead.
it's kind of a case by case basis, truly, and where, make sense to place a little Sienna switch in a maintenance room and light it up from there. It might make sense to split in the maintenance room and go from the Cat 5. It's really truly case by case.
Yeah.
What about some of the trailer parks? Because those would be different than an apartment building, right? Because
Yeah, that's
I would
gonna
think
be
that would be more like what we run along the roads.
correct. Yeah, it's just a little bit unique in the sense that their utility easements are quite often full. Some of them, like the one we met with this morning, Mott Road, they have existing conduit to most everything, so that's very helpful.
That's handy. Yeah.
In some instances, we're probably gonna have to place poles. But it's, again, each one's kind of got its own unique set of challenges.
Right.
Yeah, I think the challenge we have is that even with all the resources we have, we still have limited engineering services hours to do all these things. Our focus for the last, well, it's July, so somehow, even though I feel like Brad's my brother because I talk to him every day, it's only been hasn't even been 5 months since we started working with Vantage. Our focus has been on MIP, making sure that everything we've built so far is in the direction we want to go in, but making sure that the plan we put forward and implement for MIP, the funded plan, has enough money and resources and design to actually be successful. Which means that all these MDU projects have taken, a back seat to that priority. When the state offered us the $8.9 million last year, that became the priority, is reaching every unserved and underserved home in the town, but doing it within their guidelines and their requirements. So things like the MDUs, the mobile home parks, like we don't have unlimited engineering hours to do everything at once. We're getting to it. It's just we've tried to prioritize around the big picture of the project of getting it all designed right and getting the funding we needed. Versus, I don't want to say it's a distraction because getting fiber to the individual residents is important, but we just can't do everything at once.
Mhm.
I mean, if you have a map of the town, you know there are 15 mobile home parks in town. There's a lot of them. Like
Sorry, I'm in a meeting.
a lot more work to do.
I'm in a meeting, so.
So yeah, we're working on it. It's just nothing's really quick. This is not like a 1 hour engineering task for Mott Road. This is many hours of conversations with the property owners, looking at diagrams, going on site, coming up with a plan, making sure the plan is understood by whoever does the construction, and then getting it done.
And to your point, Dave, it's not like we're just throwing these on the back burner. There is focus on them as well, just because we know that there is good revenue opportunity for the town of Dryden associated with these various projects. However, with only 18 months left on the MIP clock, we have to be cognizant of that as well.
And I think it's important to note that things are actually being addressed rather than us just getting lip service that said, "Oh yeah, we're going to take care of that," because we all know that did not happen. So I, for one, appreciate what you guys are doing, Brad.
Thanks, Tracy. So a lot of stuff happening. The full agenda, as we take a half a step back, construction's going on. POPs are more secure. We're working on this Hanford to get an idea of what it looks like to do a small bid. The bigger bid will be available probably by the end of next week, as I said, by the end of the month. Caroline construction is moving forward. We talk about pole permitting, which is another part of everything that's happening, and then all to work with installations. We are continuing to do installs. They're not quite the same clip that we have done when we were adding more and more green zone. But we are doing some installs. And one other thing on installs, there was that request a few months ago to modify our property owner agreement easement to get access to one parcel. That property owner did sign off. They dropped off paperwork earlier this week. We pushed that out to scheduling. It got scheduled for next week on the 30th. So that customer who signed up when their parcel went in the green zone last fall should be online by the 30th.
Great.
So thank you for reviewing that and helping move that forward. With that, I'm open to questions. Brad and I are here. We've got at least 9 more minutes. If you want to stay longer, you can.
Dave, I have a slight concern, well, not a concern, but I want to make sure that once the work is done or you've got the bid done and the people are working, one of the problems that we had, obviously, nobody's going and checking that what we had asked them to do was really getting done. So I assume that, am I correct in assuming that Vanta person will go out and look to make sure, oh, we've got the pole has been secured properly, the fiber is hung at the right way, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, so Graham, as part of the budget, our proposal, we provided Dave kind of at the inception of the project when we were brought in. Part of that is inspection services. So
yeah, okay.
We design it, we create plans and specifications for how the plant should be built. We come in behind and we inspect to make sure it was built as designed. If it wasn't, there's typically a punch list. Much like if you build a house, you walk around with sticky notes and put, fix this, fix that. So yes, we come in behind and inspect, do quality control. Within our contracts, we expect splicing results. We get OTDR readings, we get light level readings, dB loss at each house. There's a lot of QC in place to make sure that you have a solid network when we walk away, because I don't want you calling me in 5 years saying something's not working.
No, we don't want to do that either. So yeah. Okay, great.
I just wanted to clarify, I don't know what wasn't put in as specified, but I don't know what you're referring to, Graham. I guess that's what I want to follow up on.
Okay, so there were they came back with a list of things like where poles hadn't been secured properly, but I think it was either they weren't engineered to do it. I mean, so we don't know if it's engineering or the contractor didn't do it or what, we just don't know. So I want to make sure we've got a plan in place to make sure that when the work's done, that it's getting verified by, so we make sure that we've got a solid product in hand. So yeah, so I'm not saying that, that you guys didn't do what you were doing, you said told to do or whatever, but there's definitely, we want to make sure we're double checking that work to make sure that we've got it all is to specifications. So, and it was obviously the specifications have been a bit iffy. So I think so.
Yeah, so the obviously the down guys and anchors is one subject, but the going back to move fibers from relocate them onto other poles, that's going to probably happen even in the new section, because there's going to be situations where we're going to be attaching to an area where there's a double wood or two poles where they had set a new pole, but some of the transfers haven't been completed before we get there. So there's going to be some situations where you have to go back and move them on to the new pole after the fact.
Yeah, we've got some of those sitting in Etna. They've been out that way for, I don't know, a good year. So yeah.
Yeah, to Sean's point, there'll be some sections we get conditional licenses to attach, that everything's not moved yet. So
yeah. But when you look at the instances of the grounding wasn't totally done correct, or the bonding in the cabinets, things like this. So it sort of adds up. We want to try and get it right now. So
I fully expect, based on what Vantage has shared as far as the review, the audit, the double checking, that before we finish the project and say like we're done with construction, which we're aiming to have that done sometime in 2027 across the whole town, is to say everything, like, here's the keys to the car, here's the warranty, everything has been double checked, you're good to go. Not like we drive away and then realize we have to go back and fix things. So it's very different thinking about being at that place than we are today. We just have a lot of work.
The other thing that I don't think we put to bed really yet was the ability to maybe potentially attach solar panels to some of this equipment.
Yeah, but Brad's to-do list as far as like to report with here's what it would cost to do, here's how it could work. It's on the to-do list for Vantage. Obviously, we're trying to prioritize the New York State requirements out of engineering first.
Yeah.
Make sure everything is where it needs to be. The permitting piece, which is a huge engineering task, these MDUs, but that solar request is on there too.
And the pops will be designed in such a way that that's quite easy to come in and add retroactively, Graham.
Okay, yeah, that's really what I want to make sure is happening. So I think Mark is also interested in at least in the Caroline building that you're putting up, or we buy or whatever. So.
Yeah, is that?
Are we looking at doing more of a drop-in unit for Caroline, or is it going to be something that's really going to be constructed? So
it's a prefabricated hut.
Yeah,
much like you've got at the Dryden Town
Right.
Highway Department. Is that where that's at? Right, Dave?
Yeah. Okay, great.
Anyone else? Dan, you've been really quiet. Things good?
All good, Dave.
Dan, happy birthday. I know it was this week. I hope that for your next birthday, we have the gift of driving 5 to your house.
I'm hopeful of that too. I hope I'm around to enjoy that. Getting older is rough.
You are in that, I believe, and I can double check with Brad. I believe your neighbors and you are in that bid package that's going out end of the month.
And all the good people were born in July.
Yes, so true. No, it was great. I had 30 people sing to me at a municipal meeting yesterday. That was pretty weird.
That was
On
nice.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Did not expect that, led by a
Right.
county legislator, but gotta live this long to experience things like that.
We don't have the license for that song, so we can't do that here today. But
It's too
have a
late.
good birthday
It's too late.
weekend.
It would be
You
out of
can
place
do it
today.
now. Just so you know, Dan, I was in the hospital having my appendix removed on my birthday this year. So there you go.
Sorry to hear that. But,
Yeah.
happy belated.
Not the perfect birthday present, let me tell you.
No.
Well, it's 11:29. Enjoy the extra minute. Thanks for being here. We will meet again on the second Friday of August, which is August 8th, for our reporting meeting for the month of July. And then we'll meet again on the 4th Friday of August, which is the 22nd, not Labor Day weekend. It is August 22nd. And then we go to September and we go back to our first and third Fridays again.
Right.
So I'll see all of you in, I guess, 2 weeks on August 8th.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Everybody
Thanks,
enjoy
Dan.
the weekend.
Bye-bye.